The sexual misconduct accusations against Deshaun Watson, who played quarterback for Cleveland Browns, have created a pretty big buzz in the world of the NFL. And if you, like us, have been looking forward to the outcome, well then, we come bearing good news. In a recently held disciplinary hearing, their status of Watson was revealed. Wondering whether he'll be playing this season or not? Well, here's all you need to know. First up, let's talk about that verdict. Many have been curious as to what will be the fate of the Browns quarterback, Watson. But as it turns out, our wait has been cut short. Recently, the legal team responsible for the hearing under the supervision of Judge Sue L. Robinson came out with a verdict, and it seems like Watson will be playing this season, despite all of the accusations. Yep, that's right. In one of our earlier videos, we mentioned that the expected punishment for Watson would be 1 year in addition to a certain amount of fine. But, well, apparently that's not going to be the case. Mike Florio in Pro Football Talk stated that we'll probably see Deshaun Watson suspended for a few games, somewhere between 2 to 8, maybe, but it's definitely not going to be more than that. You might remember that Watson was accused of sexual misconduct by around 24 women. Yep, 24 women came out with accusations against him, and in return, he's just gonna sit out for a few games. Does not really sound fair to us. And more importantly, the league still holds the ability to appeal this judge, so it still remains uncertain whether a longer ban would be posed on the player or it'll be further cut short. But wait, let's tell you a bit about the allegations. So, as mentioned earlier, the quarterback for the Cleveland Browns was facing a bunch of pretty serious accusations regarding sexual misconduct. These civil lawsuits were filed against the 26-year-old in Harris County, Texas. The women had come forward stating that he had indulged in lewd and coercive behavior with them. However, only 2 of them had accused Watson of sexual assault. They claimed that during massage therapy sessions, the quarterback had asked them to engage in oral sexual activities with him. One woman also came forward claiming that Watson had groped her as well. These women had been hired by the footballer to provide personal services such as massages, etc. But perhaps he didn't really understand the meaning of such service and took it a bit too literally. These women came forward with the allegations about a year ago, but a verdict was announced only recently. The incidents were said to have occurred between March 2020 and March 2021. Several of these women have come forward saying that Watson's previous team, the Houston Texans, were actually enabling his behavior. The team had conducted a private investigation of their own into these manners, but were unable to find any substantial evidence against him, so no action was taken. It's pretty obvious that the investigators themselves were biased, as they definitely didn't want any harm to come to one of their star players' reputation. And the fact that the Cleveland Browns signed a $230 million contract with Watson while all these allegations regarding him were being made public is pretty concerning and disturbing. While talking about the fans, it's pretty obvious that they're torn into 2 parties. One, which is siding with the star player and wants him to remain on the team and play all games. On the other side, oh well, let's just say that they're not really happy, but the Cleveland Browns are letting a borderline harasser play on their team. And just as a side note, all of this opens up a whole new avenue of discussion regarding attitudes towards sexual harassment in the sports community. Now, coming back to the matter at hand, 2 of these 24 women have made their identity public, but the rest prefer anonymity. However, you might find it interesting that 20 of these cases were solved outside of court, but the terms of the settlement haven't been revealed to the public. The original plaintiff of these allegations is Ashley Solis, who hasn't yet settled. More power to her. The other survivor who made her identity public in 2021 is Lauren Baxley, who provided strong evidence against Watson. It's a pretty tough fight for these women, as 2 grand juries have refused to indicate the accused of any charges regarding sexual misconduct. In order to defend himself, Watson took to Twitter and stated that he never treated any woman with anything other than the utmost respect. Well, that's what they all say. So what's gonna happen next? Watson will be tried according to the personal conduct policy of the NFL, which was recently created to regulate the behavior shown by players off-field. The disciplinary committee will be focusing on the remaining 4 accusations that have not been settled yet, so with only 4 accusations affecting during the decision-making process, we can expect things to go in any direction. The hearing will also be focusing on the precedents present for such cases, so this might ultimately play in favor of Watson, as sexual misconduct has only recently been taken recently. There's a huge chance that he'll be punished according to the standards already set, which quite frankly are very low. But apart from this, we can expect a fine of about $330 million to be imposed on the Browns quarterback, but nothing is certain as of now. Both parties, Watson and the survivors, are awaiting the result of the lawsuits and whatever punishment Judge Robinson will deem fit for the situation. Now let's catch up on what's going on in the world of football. Here's some other news from the NFL-verse. First up, the NFL player Nassib revealed an ugly reality that LGBTQ footballers have to face. It's really hard for members of the LGBTQ community everywhere, and if you're in the NFL, then it's certainly no walk in the park. Yeah, that's right. Prejudice doesn't care if you have a huge fan following or if you've outperformed several of your teammates on multiple occasions. Nope, prejudice only cares about how you identify yourself and what your sexual orientation is, even though that has literally nothing to do with the game. R.K. Russell, a former footballer, came out regarding his sexual orientation during his career, but in a piece he wrote for The Guardian, he voiced how he'd never got a tryout call, nor did any team show interest in him after he came out in 2019. Russell has been pretty vocal about the struggles he faced, and he's also raising his voice for fellow NFL players who have recently come out. He also highlighted how despite the public support and encouragement, players often wound up jobless. He highlights the fact that Carl Nassib became the first player who came out while he was an active player on the roster. Nassib was playing for the Raiders at that time, but currently he's not signed to any team, even though he's had several game-winning plays. Nassib is currently 29 years old, which according to Russell is the prime of his career. With renowned players like Russell bringing attention to this problem, we can expect things to get better soon, but when will soon come, we don't know yet. Moving on, NFL says goodbye to 50-year-old Super Bowl champ. The NFL just lost a star. The former steady wide receiver, Charles Johnson, passed away at the age of 50. Johnson has played in the NFL for about 9 seasons, and even won a Super Bowl with his last team, New England Patriots. During his last months, the former footballer was working as an assistant athletic director at Heritage High School. The exact reasons behind his death are still unknown, but nonetheless, the NFL has just lost a huge star. He was originally drafted in 1994 by the Steelers. His 1,008 receiving yards are still the 16th highest ever scored by Pittsburgh receivers. Throughout his career, he could catch 345 passes for around 4,606 yards with a whopping 24 touchdowns. He even started in 87 games of the 133 he played. Lastly, the NFL hopes to reach as many fans as possible. The executives at the league believe that it's the best time to be a fan of the game. Yes, that's right. The NFL is trying its best to make football more accessible to all, and also to reach as many fans as possible. The game plans on flexible scheduling along with an expanded season and playoffs. Adding extra games would allow them to add more meaning to the game, and of course, we're all here for that. Apart from this, they'll be focusing more on broadcasting. This basically means that they'll be streaming it in other languages. The NFL also plans to engage more fans through highly engaging video games. That's our type of material. With an enhanced experience and a more dynamic approach, the world of NFL is ready to break all glass ceilings. We can't wait to see this new form of football. That's a wrap for this video, guys. What do you think about this fine-handed to Deshaun Watson? Do you think it's enough? Let us know what you think in the comments down below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more awesome videos like this.